For most of my adult life, I was convinced that I needed to constantly fuel my active lifestyle with food. I was of the firm belief that the sensation of hunger was my body signaling the need for more fuel and building materials to perform properly. To maintain my idea of peak performance, I was eating 5 meals a day. Breakfast, 2 meals at work, dinner when I got home, and my absolute favorite, my bedtime meal. I thought this was optimal because my weight remained reasonably steady and it could be manipulated by altering the contents of these 5 meals and the activities that I pursued. Then blood work began to show that my A1C had crept up to flirt with the pre-diabetic range of 5.7%. More curious than alarmed, I decided to do some research and ended up buying a glucose meter to monitor the situation. I started taking glucose readings in my most fasted state, weekend mornings. The readings showed an average range above 110, which when entered into this formula, confirmed an A1C of 5.6%. I then researched what elevated glucose levels can do to the body. I found out that high glucose will harden your tissues, wear out your cells, reduce your body's ability to use energy, force your body into a low-level state of inflammation, and slowly damage your smallest blood vessels. I thus determined that I did not want elevated glucose levels and began to look for a cure to remedy this situation. Inevitably, my focus fell upon my fifth meal, my favorite meal. Over the years, this fifth meal took many forms, but in its final stage it consisted of 3 courses. First, 5 ounces of hummus with a handful of low-salt tortilla chips. Second, a cup plus of unsalted peanuts. And third, a good-sized bowl of Life cereal with 2% milk. This habitual feast placed me in a perfect sleep state in preparation for bed. To forego this meal felt like a vibrating error code flashing through my system. I dug deep and summoned the willpower to forego this meal for some preliminary test runs, and the results were undeniable. My fasted glucose levels on weekends immediately dropped into the low 90s, which in using the A1C formula dropped my percentage to under 5%. But then came the hard part, permanently eliminating the fifth meal. And I must admit that this was one of the hardest things I've ever done, even with the full realization that this was a life-preserving necessity. At first it felt like fighting a physical and mental addiction, which I guess it was. Yet month by month it gradually became more bearable, with urges ranging from moderate to severe. But it was those fasted weekend morning glucose readings that kept me on track, and by the 3rd month a new habitual hardwiring had formed, and soon after the fifth meal became a thing of the past. I now rarely even consider it an option. It's merely an afterthought of days gone by. And ever since, my glucose readings have remained ideal, with my blood work displaying perfectly healthy A1C levels. And I must add that the transformation of sleep quality from going to bed on a full stomach versus an empty stomach has been the gift that keeps on giving. All of this represents one of my finest health triumphs, and I owe the glory to my purchasing of an inexpensive glucose monitor. Well, if you found this topic interesting, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tune in for the next installment. Thank you for watching.